Yo, what is good? This is Talks Within Reach, episode 12, our first playoff episode. Things are about to be getting real in the NFL. Fancy, Matt, how are we, gentlemen?
What's up?
Hey, I'm
We
excited
got
for this weekend.
we got all three of our jerseys on. All of our teams are in it. Who knows next year around this time if all three of our teams are going to be in it again?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Real quick before we get into it, what are we all wearing here? Let's get it like I know we got the jerseys on, but who are we wearing? We got St. Brown there.
I went with Amon Ra.
Okay, I'm gonna Ra. Fancy.
I hope you're not as injured as he is. And I got BJ Raji, Super Bowl jersey. No big deal. Whatever. Pick six. Big boy.
Little big boy action.
We love to see a big boy touchdown.
I got the Jason Kelsey, captain Kelly Green. I had to go with it. Got to have our leader going into this next game here. We'll get into that later. But we had some teams that got snubbed out of the playoffs this week. Some heartbreakers, some ones we expected. And then some things just didn't play out. Some teams just they won out and they needed to, and they just didn't get a spot. But what is one team for you, Fancy? That maybe the way that the bracket worked and they just slipped a spot up. That kind of you wish went other ways.
I mean, Seattle needed Green Bay to lose, and which didn't happen. But
that's why
even then, Arizona with Matt Prater, one of the greatest kickers one of the greatest kickers right now playing, period, and definitely one of the greatest kickers ever. He's missed 4 all season, and he misses 2 back-to-back that would have won the game. And it's one of those things. I want to say that they were snubbed, and I want to say, honestly, Seattle was blessed that they won that game. And really, Arizona should have finished a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yep. Prater's got the leg for that. I mean,
it was the same miss, too. That
Detroit had him for a while. So
like 4 misses all year, and then he missed how many that game? It's just
2. He missed 2 back-to-back that could have saved the game, and that was just incredible. And I don't believe in the script, but sometimes I believe in the script.
That's why the Packers got in. I mean, look.
Hey.
Matt, what about you?
So to me, I want to say the Jaguars, but they didn't get it done. Right? It was win in, you're in. You don't win.
Everything's in your corner. Yeah.
It's basically your fault. So the demise wasn't just last week; it was the last 6 weeks, right?
Oh,
so
yeah,
I mean, it's tough, but.
I was looking through some of the just kind of scrolling through of the files that we have with all the graphics made, and there was a point I think week 11 where we're making our picks going into week 11, and the Jags are 8-2, and all three of us took Jags, and it's like you go 8-2, and you're telling me you didn't make playoffs, and it's not like they had like a crazy amount of injuries. I mean, Trevor Lawrence was beat up, but he played a lot of those games though. It's like how do you
and his stats are good.
Yeah, and it's like how do you? It's man, it was rough. You're not wrong. For me. The heartbreaker one for me was the Colts. Obviously, I'm happy the Texans got in. I love CJ Stroud. I think we all do. But like the way that it happened, I feel for that guy. Just he went about it really, really well in the post game. But it's definitely something that as an athlete, you just
that's the moment you dream for.
It's the moment you dream for.
Played out the way you never want to think.
Yeah, you're wide open. You're wide open. You're gonna have the conversion on 4th down.
Your number's called, right? He's only been called how many times? It's like when his number got called in that huddle, he probably was like, "Oh shit!" Like now it's my time to actually do it, and and just wasn't the right time for the Colts. And you know what? The Colts made it. We do a lot of comparisons between teams in the NFC and AFC, and I will say the Colts are very similar to me, like a team like the Packers. Like they're very young, and this year they played their entire season without their quarterback. Not that the Packers did that, but I think they did a lot better than we all thought. Like Packers made in playoffs and they made a spot, but the Colts got in. It's like when Anthony Richardson went down, I would have told you they're done. I would have told you they're absolutely done. I mean, now that I don't have faith in Minshew, I just don't think it was the same identity of a team. And Jonathan Taylor was hulling out, and he was hurt. It's like the whole team, and it's like for a Colts fan, if we have any listening, it's like my head's still pretty high after that season because they did a lot better than what they probably should have. Probably hurt their draft capital a little bit.
That sucks, yeah.
Yeah, you almost make playoffs, you get snubbed, and then you kind of get put in that middle of the pack, draft pick there. I will say, DraftKings wise, Fancy, you did win without Joe Flacco. Very impressive. No quarterback winning it all. I still hold
that's a record.
It is a record. Fancy records. And I still hold a record for this season for DraftKings. Matt, we will be going over to our picks for the first playoff round of the year. But before we get to that, we have our final standings. Me and Fancy went 12-4 in the week. Matt, you went 13-3. Matt at number 1 on the whole year. Not whole year, when we started the podcast episodes, at 112-54. That's a phenomenal record. And 109-57 for me, and Fancy at 97-69. Fancy just couldn't hold off on just maybe just not making one more pick and getting the 96-69 reverse, the reverse action there. But hey, it was a fun time, boys. I'm excited to see what we can do and what our records look like next year when we can do it from the beginning all the way through and talk through and everything. I think the trend of our picks in those, if you look at maybe the last 5 or 6 weeks, I mean, we were double digit on the wins there almost every single week, all of us there. So
yeah, I think our worst one was still like 9 and 8.
Yeah, we were getting hot there. But let's just dive right into the wildcard schedule, man. I'm excited. We have a lot of factors to talk into, lots of things to discuss. But our first game that we have, this will be uploaded on Saturday. So today, when you guys are listening to this, is the Texans and Browns, and the game is in Houston. So the Cleveland Browns and Joe Flacco and the boys will be traveling into Houston. Me and Matt wound up picking the Browns, and Fancy, you went with the Texans. I did want to go with the Texans. I will say that I did. Every part of me was like, I want the Texans. It'd be cool to see CJ Stroud go. But when they barely beat the Colts, who I thought shouldn't even been that far into the season, and you look at how good this Brown, someone showed there was a thing on Twitter I saw, and I should have kept it to have to refer to, but the teams that CJ Stroud has played that had a good pass defense, they've lost every matchup. And the Browns have a hell of a defense. And so that's what I kind of looked at in that matchup. I don't know what about you, Matt, on what kind of you were siding. Hot offense. They get Mark Cooper back this week. Everyone's kind of healthy. I just think, whatever magic Joe Flacco's got going on in Cleveland, it's just not going to rub off this week.
Yeah, I like DeMeco Ryan, but
I love him.
I like CJ Stroud, but you've got a Super Bowl winning quarterback on the other side.
Super Bowl MVP too.
So whether you think whether you think he's the elite quarterback that he kind of is showing that he is right now, that experience is definitely, I think the advantage over a rookie quarterback that's never been in this scenario before. But kind of to your point, all year, that's kind of my tipping point is that defense. Cleveland's defense,
nasty,
is just insane, right? So to me, you take a quarterback who's been here before, and he's looking, honestly, you can make fun of how this old man is out there back on the field, but he looks like he's a quarterback that has actually won a Super Bowl. So maybe he can do it again. I don't know, but at least for this week, that's why I chose him.
Is Myles Garrett the next Ray Lewis on and off the field? And I mean reformed and, a devout Christian.
So, hey, we've already seen him take off a guy's helmet and beat him with it.
It made Mason Rudolph a better quarterback, apparently.
Yep.
Yeah, that's called miracle work. So
and then Ray Lewis, that's all is his stuff still allegedly, or no, he was acquitted, right? So
yeah, I think he wrote a book I think he wrote a book like the Buffalo great O.J. Simpson as well. Ooh. I'm not sure on that. I think he did though, write a memoir of some sort of if that was to happen, how it would probably happen.
Yeah.
Maybe Aaron Hernandez should have looked into reading some of those books. But anyway, I got the Texans winning at home, man. I really like CJ Stroud. I think the younger quarterback prevails. The younger team, just overall as a whole, God, it's hard to bet against him. And I've seen him, those five losses, that stat could be a little bit higher in a couple games. And the games that they could have, against the Buccaneers, they should have lost that game. And they made a drive in 40 seconds with no timeouts.
Should be 10-7. I don't know why it's 10-5. Yeah, 10-7.
I'm just saying it shouldn't even be 10 wins.
But yeah, I mean they played a lot of games without CJ Stroud, and they're beat up. I mean they have a lot. losing what is that? Oh,
Tank Yeah, no, exactly.
It hurts.
I think that and their ability to overcome the adversity that they've seen with people that have not had the time to grow together is what is so impressive. It's like you guys don't have that. Like, okay, Matt's out. I know what to do with Jake. Jake's out. I know what to do with Matt. Fancy's out. Jake and Matt will get it done. It's like these guys just met. They're strangers.
Yeah.
And at this point they're not. But yeah, I definitely think that.
I got a question for you. So you got CJ Stroud, Nico Collins, and Dalton Schultz. Okay. And then on the other end, we've got Flacco, Njoku, and Cooper. Okay. What out of those two scenarios, who gets more yards between their tight end and their receiver?
Ooh.
I think Njoku gets more yards than Cooper. I think Njoku is going to be the leader in yards for the Browns.
Okay.
Ooh, over Amari Cooper.
Yeah, I do. I think I just think they're going to have to lock it down. I think he's going to be the target. Like, you think he's going to be focused.
I was going to tell you receptions.
Collins is going to do it.
Yeah, they have it at like 6.5 right now on the books right now.
Yeah, I was going to tell you receptions. I'm definitely siding with you on Njoku. On yards, Collins. I almost want to say Nico is going to be the one putting up these crazy numbers in this game too.
Yeah, I would say for this matchup, it's one of the few matchups that we have ahead of here where like I'm genuinely just ready to watch that football game. Like I think all three of us feel the same way. Like if the Browns were to win, I don't think any of us would be upset. If the Texans were to win, none of us would be upset. It's hopefully just going to be a good football game and ends one of the seasons on a good note. And it was a good hard fought football game, and no BS calls or no ending that's crazy.
But before we go on any further, just look at this picture and say who all in this picture did you think was not going to be there? It's like half of them.
The Bucks, Texans, Browns, Steelers, and Packers for me, and that's 5.
Rams and Lions. I think one of those two maybe.
Yeah, with going into the season, the Rams were healthy, and I was like, they're going to be nasty again because you know what I mean. Yeah. But throughout the season, no, I didn't think the Rams would be there. They start off really rough.
Yeah, it's so crazy. What an incredible.
I think your points that you made with the Texans, though, before we move on to the Dolphins Chiefs.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Before I do like your points though, and I think that there's always it's that dual-edged sword. It's exactly. That's why I do think they do have a chance in this game, but at the same time, that's why they could lose. Is that youth? It's
youth versus experience.
Right, your back's against that wall. It's how do how does CJ Stroud react now when his back's? So we don't know yet. And it's with Joe Flacco.
I look at the coaching staff.
Got it done. Yeah.
What is their experience?
What does D'Amico Ryans do? Yeah. So it's gonna be. That's gonna be one of the closest games, I think.
I say this is probably the most evenly matched game.
Yep.
Period.
Just great start.
Two teams that probably should not have been there. If you told us in the beginning of the season, and they're there, and they both deserve to be there.
Yeah.
But then we have this wild matchup. The Dolphins go from the 2 seed to the 6 seed. Right?
Yeah. They could have beat the Bills.
No, it's 5 seed, I thought. Because
they're 3 plays 6. Yeah. 2 plays 5 or 2.
Whatever it is, 7, the Dolphins went from 2 and they're not 2 anymore.
They're 6.
Now,
6.
Yeah. So they go to 6 to play the Chiefs in Kansas City. Now, talk about the craziest. These next 2 games we're going to be talking about here.
That's why we build indoor facilities.
Dude, I'm with Anthony, man. I love it. This is none of your Detroit inside. When you're there, it's nice, I will say, because it was cold that first time we went there.
If cars were still made in Detroit, I would listen, but they're not. So you know what? We're doing it outside.
But dude, I told you guys before the podcast, they're expecting -30 wind chill. They're literally telling Kansas City and the fans, or if Miami fans are going, whatever, the fans that are going to be there, to basically not come, and to if they do, to cover up as much of their skin as possible, Like, do not let any exposure to your skin, like all this other stuff. And Vince, you were saying like you have a family member going, and it's like, I just wonder, like my dad being, a chief firefighter, like being a firefighter, paramedic, all these other things. It's like he's seen front hand like what this can do to people, and he's just like, why do they not just reschedule the game? Like why? And I was like, I don't disagree with you, but I'm like, they have so much millions lined up. Like,
but also I do disagree.
But like health wise, it's not.
This is the Coliseum.
This is like people, like Matt said, people could literally die like in this way. Like your heart could, you get hit hard enough, it's gonna be Damar Hamlin comeback player of the year all over. Like, it's like, and so it's like to a point, like the Bills Steelers game, that's a football game. Give me that. Like, give me a foot of snow, 30 degrees. Like, give me that. Like, that's fine. But this -30, like, dude, it's a different thing for health stuff. And someone's already making bets for if someone's gonna go out to warm-ups with no shirt on. They always do it. Someone always, before it was DK, when it was like -30, he went out there all like lubed up and like Vaseline, and it like protects you from the cold or whatever. It's like someone's gonna do it, and I wonder who it's gonna be.
I'm excited to see what they wear on the field that still allows mobility and cold weather protection.
Supposedly, it's that Vaseline. It's like a mixture of something. They rub it on their skin,
like an actual skin protectant,
and it doesn't like affect like the wind. You don't get cold. You feel like you're just like in like a wetsuit. It's like there's
thermal
nothing
layer.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen Kadarius Toney wear that, like, wear the hooded, insulated thing underneath all the time, anyways. So I mean, to me that'd be crazy though. You've got that covering. You pull up the covering and over your helmet or under your helmet, but over your head. Like, I don't know how you play in that, but now obviously you're gonna need that. Like, so I don't know about you guys. I've been to an outdoor game in the winter. For mine, it was a hockey game that was played at the Progressive Field in Cleveland. Michigan Ohio State. And as a fan, it was more miserable than it was entertaining because of how cold it was at an event like that. So that was I want to say that was in January as well. So now when they're talking about a game like this for the players, I don't see how you can even play the game of football that cold. So
what did they do back in the 50s?
The coldest game is like -17, like,
which is still pretty cold.
No, it is cold. I mean, like,
they didn't have Under Armour.
Yeah,
they didn't have shit.
Matt, it was literally last year. Last year I went to the Eagles game with you in Detroit to start the year off.
Yeah, that was a close game.
And then really, really dope game. And then I went to the game in Chicago against the Bears right before Christmas, and it was -5. That was the game that Jalen Hurts got hurt when they hurt his ribs, and I could tell you every single quarter, the in between time or they take timeouts, TV timeout, everyone ran to the bathroom because the bathrooms are warm, and there was probably 200 people in each bathroom. Like, you just had to cram in there and warm up and then come back out. I didn't get a drink. I didn't get anything to eat. It was by far the most miserable experience that I've had. And after the game, AJ Brown literally said, like, he'll never play for, like, he was like, Philly is cold, but not fucking Chicago cold. He goes, I will never come play for Chicago ever. And it's like, not to go down that path, but it's like that you start thinking about that, like with free agents too. It's like these guys think about this stuff. Like they don't want it. Like, that had to be part of Tyreek's like thinking process. Go play in New York where it's raining and cold all the time, or go play in Miami. Don't get tax money and go play in like 70, 80 degree weather all the time. Like, it's
yeah, for sure.
So no, it'll be interesting. And a fun fact when we're going to this game, Matt, you picked the Dolphins, me and Fancy on the Chiefs. I saw, now obviously all the weather reports are kind of coming in as the week goes through. But I think like under 30 degrees or something like that, Tua's like 0-12.
Oh God.
Yeah. So I saw something like that.
I bet most people are 0-12 under 30 degrees. It's like, that's brutal weather.
Yeah.
That's brutal weather.
That'd be a fun stat to look up. Like, what quarterbacks, like, because like Rodgers probably has some pretty good wins, and so does Brady.
Yeah.
So does like some. Yeah. It's like I wonder.
Roethlisberger.
Some of those guys are like some legendary.
Manning in Denver.
Maybe. Yeah. With the gloves and everything.
Yeah.
Hold on. So real quick, because you were talking about having a huddle in the bathrooms. I was at the Wings
favorite
game.
subject.
You want to talk about the bathroom, the bathroom?
No. So I was at the Wings game, and on the jumbotron, one of the guys' shirts was bring back the bring back the troughs.
Oh,
dude. I mean, we've talked about that.
Has those.
We've talked about that before. At the Joe, they used to have the little trough.
Wrigley still has them,
and they throw the ice in there, and you just pee on the ice, and that's just
my high school had that.
That's an initiation as a child. You have to go to the Joe in
high school.
You're just out there dicks with everybody, teachers, fucking you're just like God.
You got lucky.
Motherfucker, get it out of the bottom there. You're getting it wet.
Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah, I think last time I checked, Wrigley still has those. They might have renovated a little bit, but I'm pretty sure when me and Papa were there, I think this past summer they were still there. That's so funny. But yeah, I mean, this one's gonna be a brutal game, man. I don't know. I told you, Matt, before the pod. I think the Chiefs are just a better equipped team. Obviously, they're used to a little bit of a cold because when we went there for the Chiefs-Broncos game a few years ago, it was pretty damn cold there too. So they're a little bit more used to the cold. Yeah, shout out Huffy. Hopefully get him on the podcast soon. And yeah, I mean they're more used to the cold. Fancy dude, and
just sitting here.
I know, but they're a little bit more used to the cold, and it's like, dude, it's a factor, man. I know people say it, but it's like, dude. I mean, these guys are going to get hit, and then the wind is just going to be knocked out of them, man. I mean, no one's going to want to hit. No one's going to want to, run. No one's going to want to throw. It's just going to be one of those things where I think this is almost like the best case scenario for Kansas City. Because I think, the way the way they've been so shaky this season, if they were in Miami and this was an absolute, shootout, I think Kansas City loses.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, in Miami they're gonna have a hard time.
This is the worst. Dolphins needed to win because this would be such a Bills Chiefs game. It'd be such a team of both teams being used to this weather, and it'd be such a cool matchup. But the Dolphins losing that game, I mean,
that's how you slow down.
They went from 90% chance to 10, just by losing that last game of the season. And so, I mean, yeah, Matt going with the Dolphins though, and me and Fancy with the Chiefs there. And then, so those are the Saturday games. We have 2, so 3:30 and 7 Central. And then Sunday, we have 3 games. The Bills, Steelers. Does anyone know the exact, measurement of snow? I saw a picture, and it was you can't even see the seats. It was 8 inches the last time, which is a lot, by the way. 3 times over the average. But
yeah, it's huge.
But does anyone have a stat on that? Did any of you guys know what? No, they've gotten so much snow. I told you guys, they're literally offering people $20, $20 an hour just to go help shovel the stadium out and get it ready for Sunday. And I think it's just gonna keep snowing. I think it's gonna keep going. And like I told you guys, man, what a game. For the Steelers Bills. This is such a Steelers Bills game. When you think Steelers, you think hard, gritty, cold. Same thing with Buffalo, right? And it's like I just said, this is favoring the Chiefs, and it's the worst thing that could happen to the Dolphins. This is the best circumstances you could possibly ask for as a Steelers fan and as a Steelers player, because this is what being a Steelers player stands for. Is going into this cold. This is what Mike Tomlin is. So
yeah, exactly. That's why I got on here. I picked the Bills, because they are home and Bills Mafia is for real. But Mike Tomlin he's just so successful, and it's hard to, I think if there's a coach that's going to have a longer tenure than Bill Belichick, it could be Mike Tomlin.
Really?
I think it could be. I think it could be him. I mean, as of right now,
younger too. Yeah,
he started younger. I mean, he's still doing. I mean, like you said, you can't be mad at a winning season and a playoff berth, even if it's wild card, even if it's barely, even if it's with the fucking 4th quarterback of the year, whatever it may be. It's you got a winning season. You're in the playoffs.
A 10-7 too. Not just
that's not bad. That's not bad at all. And
not 9-8 like the Packers.
Right. I mean, you're fucking double-digit wins. Shit,
Yeah. What was I gonna say? The crazy thing is too is, we had a person on the YouTube when we talked about the AFC South give you shit about the Steelers being in the playoffs. So I will say this, not that he watches this, but fuck you. We have to go back on that. We have to go back on that TikTok and just like add him back. You know, like, hey, how'd this like work out for you? Like, this worked out well, didn't it? Like, you know.
Yeah, and if the Steelers beat the Bills, which I did say the Bills,
Yes.
I made a note in my notes that the Steelers will get a huge win on the road, and the Buffalo Bills are gonna have to seek some changes in the offseason. But that'll be a huge solidifying moment for Mike Tomlin and his ability to run a program.
Yeah.
So you say 10-7 winning season, Tomlin, which is that's his whole career right now, right? That's awesome. But at what point, if he does dip below that 500 mark, do you finally, have a chance to move on, or do you just continue with it? Because with the Lions, I guess that's our previous regime, but Caldwell went 10-7, and then we let him go. That just shows the old Lions versus maybe what a storied franchise like the Steelers are able to continue to put together. So for me,
Tomlin has a ring.
Yeah, Tomlin just has to keep the ship afloat. But I think if he starts to have a couple down years, which it doesn't look like he's ever going to have, but I think if he does have those down years, they do have to actually think about moving.
And I think this is one of those years where when you're in those meetings with the owners and say they lose, right? They lose first round. It's like, I like as a coach, you don't want to be that guy, but I'm walking up to like, did you guys expect us to make playoffs with the roster that you gave me?
Right.
Like you get we should not be here. So give me a roster that you think we can win a championship with. Give me the Steelers defense that we are known for.
Yeah, give me the scouting reports. Yeah. What are we looking at for next year? I made playoffs to save my job, so we're not getting a good pick. So now what do you want me to do?
Right.
You're exactly right.
Yeah. So that's the conversation I'm having, and I think he has that same attitude of just like I don't think of many coaches. There's very few coaches in the NFL that lead that Steelers team to a playoff run like they just did. Like,
oh yeah,
I think
that's
very few.
Very tough battle. That's a tough division.
Yep.
And yeah, absolutely proud. And like I said, we played them in this Super Bowl here. I don't know if you guys know this. Can you guys let me zoom in?
I don't know what that is. I know
you don't. So. I know you don't. It's okay. One day.
Give Matt like a 5 minute. Let's take a 5-minute break. Matt can Google it real quick. That way you can.
Remember, it weighs 7 pounds. So when you do ever get one, you'll know. It's named after us.
This year, I'll go try to hold
Coach Lambeau. But yeah, good luck getting past us. Yep. Anyway, but what I'm saying though is this dude has been there. He's done that. He's went to more than one Super Bowl, and he had Roethlisberger. It's one of those things between like Brady, Belichick, Roethlisberger, Tomlin. Like, did one make the other? I think we saw. I can't say with Tom Brady because it's like if Belichick wasn't there for Tom Brady's beginning years, we may not have seen Tom Brady in the later years.
Right.
And I feel the same thing about Tomlinson with Roethlisberger, but definitely Steelers.
Did you say Tomlinson? Is that what he just said?
Tomlinson? LaDainian.
Tomlin. Right. That's right. Yeah, my bad.
I was thinking about Rivers, and I was like, then you went back to that. I was like,
no.
Yeah, I got you.
No, but yeah, with Mike Tomlin, and it's one of those things where it's like what, and you got to think about it. It's like, okay, we might be moving on from as the head office, us three. We're like, hey, let's maybe what are we going to get rid of Tomlin for? Who's out there? Who are you going to go after that you think is better than Mike Tomlin? That the fans aren't going to absolutely boo the fuck. I know Beasley wants Arthur Smith. I know
Smith
that
just came available.
I know that.
I think that's the best candidate.
I know.
Forward, right?
I know. I think he's going to the Eagles actually.
Just notice that I just want to point out. Fancy keep throwing jabs. Just point out. Fancy took the Bills and Fancy took the Cowboys. He didn't take his Packers. He didn't bet against the Bills. So
yeah,
just want to point that out. Our next game that we have. 17 games Fancy has taken the Packers. 17 games this season. And the one game that they go to the playoffs and he's ready for, and he got the matchup that he wanted, he goes with the Cowboys. I just want to point that out. All three of us took the Cowboys.
This is the script.
And Fancy literally is picking against his own team, which You know, I will say this. I expected you to at least go out like let's hope they win. All three of us hope the Cowboys lose first round. I think it would be absolutely freaking hilarious. Like it'd be the best. I figured you would pick the Packers, and then in the second round you'd be like, okay, like that's as far as we go now. Like that, like that's good.
The thing is, based on injuries alone is what dictated my pick. And by all means, we're lucky to be here.
Yep.
We're lucky to be over 500. And I'm happy. I'm happy to play the Cowboys first round. 9 out of 10 times. 9 out of the last 10 matchups we have won. And one of which was last year. One of which was last year where we were 4-6 when we met him in Green Bay. 4-6. And everybody said they're done. Rodgers is toast. He's not the Cowboys killer. This is the Cowboys year, which they've said every year since, I don't know, since Jesus was fucking still a carpenter. And bam, you know, we beat them then. And it's like, if there's a chance for us to win, we've beat them for the playoffs in AT&T before. History repeats itself. However, I don't know who's playing. I don't know who's hurt. I don't know who is eligible. I don't know if they're just saying, suck it up, win this game, and then we'll put in all second string next game just because this game matters more. I don't know what they're going to do.
I assume it's like all hands on deck, you know. Like
I would like to think so.
You're playing like this
is D-Day. You know what I mean? Like this is the real deal. This is the game. This is the game. And I mean, believe me, being in Texas, going to work, it's been a week. It's been a week. I cannot put it in terms that would be appropriate for this podcast. And by all means, I picked the Cowboys because they're healthy and the Packers aren't. And that's the bottom line. The Cowboys are healthy, the Packers are not.
The Cowboys at home are just, I mean, all year we've said it. If they're home,
they have a really good chance. Yeah.
They have a really good chance at winning.
Mike McCarthy's a great coach. I mean, he took us to Super Bowl. He won't take the Cowboys to one, but he'll get close, and then Jerry Jones will get in the way.
Yeah.
But
we all three went there. It'll be interesting to see how that game plays out. I think that'll probably be one of the most watched games, I will say. I mean, that and the snow games. And the snow games will be heavily watched.
This weekend will break records.
Yeah.
Period.
I mean, even this next game we got coming up, Lions and Rams, you know, I saw the ticket prices. I think minimum were like $650 or some shit like that. Like that was like the cheapest ticket available for the Lions Rams game. And I saw too, right? Like we're gonna dive right into this game with it. Matt, I want your opinion on it. You guys banned Matthew Stafford jerseys from
yes, I feel like Stafford Lions jerseys.
Yes, Matthew Stafford's wife even came on and said like, "Wow, it kind of shocked me a little bit. Like it's always been nothing but love for Detroit and everything, like all this other stuff." And then it's like you see this happen. It's like his first game back in Detroit, and you guys ban his number. Like you guys are sliding up there on the Philly scumbag fan base, man.
No, I mean, so that got blown out of proportion. It wasn't the team banning the jersey, but I mean, the sentiment is, you know, you can't support the former quarterback. You need to support the quarterback that is hopefully taking us to the Super Bowl, right? So the sentiment was there. And again, as a rebuttal, Kelly Stafford said, you know, oh, that's a shame. But then if you actually look at the presser that Stafford put out, he said, no, I realize I'm the villain in this scenario. I know I took another team to the Super Bowl. So, I mean, again, Kelly's going to be outspoken. She's been outspoken, you know, the whole time she was here as well, for better or for worse. But she took it hard, but Stafford took it as a realistic opinion of, I'm not the quarterback there anymore. So I mean, he understood. You know, the thought process was, if we still have all those Stafford jerseys, you're living in the past of the quarterback that's actually going to come and try to beat your team on Sunday. So
he's not a good guy anymore.
Yeah, so I get it. You can still have the utmost respect and love for him. You know, personally, I still think, you know, he was the best thing for Detroit for all these years. We couldn't get it done for him, right? But he got it done somewhere else. He's on that other team. So, you know, the sentiment there is, yes, Jared Goff or since it's not Lamar Jackson, like you put that clip on of me. Thanks for that.
Yeah. We brought that up though, and as far as like you couldn't get it done for Stafford, but maybe Stafford couldn't get done for y'all.
Yeah,
he went to the Rams and won. So I mean, I think that.
But Goff went to the Lions, and Lions won the division.
So years later.
To me, it's
the second year.
Stafford won the division. He went to playoffs.
The Lions haven't won the division since '93.
I mean, I'm not saying he went to playoffs still.
They go to playoffs. I'm saying the Lions won the division. Like
that's like
playoffs with Goff.
But here, hold on, Fancy. Before we continue that thought, Stafford couldn't get it done because of the regime he was in.
Sure.
Okay. It's the coaching staff. It's the ownership. It's general manager.
Mm-hmm.
They were not
our same problems. Our same problems.
Yeah. So they were not putting it together for him. Now, yes, he had amazing pieces along the way.
Yeah.
But it's the whole overall structure, which, again, I think, I can keep telling you my homie pick of this is the year. But when I continue to say that, what I really mean is somehow they've gotten all those things right finally to put us in this position, whether it's making the right trades, Goff included, right, in this scenario.
I agree.
And then using those draft picks
Hawkinson
to just put this.
God.
Yeah.
I thought the Vikings were ridiculous getting rid of him. I was like, what?
But all these things,
I was like, we would like him.
They're doing right.
Get rid of him.
Wait, who are you talking about? Hawkinson or Hutchinson?
Hawkinson.
Oh, because the Lions got rid of Hutchinson to the Vikings.
Yeah, the Lions.
I got it backwards. Yeah, I got it backwards.
The Vikings.
I was about to say
the Lions looked like idiots when you guys did that. Just like the trade with the Goff too. We were like, "What are you guys doing?" Like it was like mid-season. It was like, "What are you what?" Like
I thought Goff was fine, but the Hutchinson, I was like, "Okay, I don't know what they're doing." I don't know what they're doing.
And then when Hawkinson got moved, I was like, "I don't know what they're doing now."
Yeah, but they maybe they knew they were gonna get Laporta all along. I don't know, but
they're gonna get him hurt.
He's game time decision.
Game time decision.
Everybody, all hands on deck.
But I mean that's an example of they've struck gold on these rookies. They're making all the right decisions. The coaching staff is doing everything right to finally get this team in the position to have a chance to win a playoff game. Instead of with Stafford, he was set up for failure. No matter what, no matter how many comeback wins, no matter how many fourth quarter, 2-minute drives scoring a touchdown, it doesn't matter. He wasn't going to be able to get it done no matter how well he played.
Yeah. I think that's one thing. That's one thing I wanted to ask you. Like I'm going to sit here and I'm going to play like hypothetical with you, but we had talked about if you've listened to any of the podcasts, right? With what's his name? Dan Campbell's his decision makings. It's like,
oh yeah,
when it comes down to this game, I don't know, maybe you counted how many losses you guys have had debatably because of his decisions, right? If this game comes down to that and you guys lose because of him, like that overtime, like if a situation like that, right, where you're like, oof,
with the Cowboys, the Cowboys game, for example.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah,
right.
Packers game. Even.
What do you like? You know what I mean? How do you go in the offseason knowing that you guys could have had a better record, could have advanced in the playoffs, like all this stuff, but then the coach just keeps doing
honestly, potentially, Lions were not far off of 1 seed.
Well, that's what I'm asking.
That's what I'm saying. It's like that's what I'm saying. It's like that's crazy to think.
That's what
Lions
I'm
number 1 seed in the NFC.
Like, you guys could easily be 14-3.
So
easily, and that's giving you 2 out of the 3 that I feel like you guys.
I mean, we know we could have beat the Cowboys, right? I mean, or at least had a better opportunity.
Definitely should beat the Packers.
So here's what I look at it as, especially this game, right? The problem is any mistake he makes on those, going for it on 4th down, or whatever his decision making is. The problem with a team like the Rams is the coach on the other side. Sean McVay is gonna outsmart him on every decision. So he can't make a mistake like that. He can't go for on 4th down in Lions territory because Sean McVay's gonna get a touchdown.
He got a whole playbook ready to go on that.
Capitalize on that. Yeah,
you know what I mean. That's the difference of of those mistakes. So he again, but the only way we're gonna have success is take those gambles. But they have to be a little like I get what you're saying. They have to be a little more calculated, and you know they can't have a 20% success rate. They have to have
that 80-70%,
the 70 or 80%. Otherwise, Sean McVay will absolutely turn that around on us, and then we're not gonna have a chance.
I was gonna say too, and I don't mean it to come off like in this way, but I almost feel like Sean McVay is a smarter Dan Campbell. Like he's risky. Sean McVay is a risky coach. If you remember how he got in, like when he got his job, they were like, "This motherfucker's got some guts." Like he would go for things when no one thought they were going to. He had tricks up his sleeves left and right, but then he's dialed it back. Like he brings them out and they work. Like you know what I mean? He don't bring them out unless he knows they're gonna work. And I think Dan Campbell, and it could just be in that stage of still feeling things out. Like Dan Campbell is still a newer head coach in the NFL. Like I'd still consider him a newer head coach. Like I know it's not his first year, but when you have a winning team now, those decisions make it. When you're down 20, it don't matter what you do. And so now when it's on the line, when you're only up a field goal and you do that stuff, it's like I think Sean McVay has a better feel for his team, his organization, for his game plan, for his playbook, all everything he's got going on. And I think Dan Campbell just relies more on the morale of the team and like you said last time with the Cowboys, keeping promises to players. Like that's more important to him. Where Sean McVay's like that statistical, he can remember every single play possible in the last 20 years that he's done, and he knows everything, all the percentages. It's like he's got all the stuff, and that's like for my pick at least. That's why I'm picking them. Is I think you talked about it before. Like this is just as big of a game for Stafford than it is for Goff. Like Stafford's back there, the jersey stuff. Back in there, he wants, you know what I mean? It's like I'm sure part of him wouldn't be upset if you guys won. He spent most of his life there, but it's like you are the villain. So now you're gonna go in there and you're gonna go make sure that they remember what they got rid of. That's my opinion on it. And it's like better coaching. I think a more well-rounded defense, and then I think it's gonna be whatever offense shows up because the Rams and Lions offense both have been really really hot and really really not. But another really really good game I think.
So you went to the game with me there. And that was week 1, and you saw how loud it got in there.
Yeah. Just with the potential of you guys having a better season, like
that
was before anything,
And then so that's the thing that I'm kind of excited for is if we have, and I know we do, right? If we have that atmosphere,
it will be $600 tickets.
Yeah, then I think that's if you had a 50-50 type of game, you have to push to the home team in this scenario just for that type of playoff atmosphere that I think you're going to actually get with all these passionate Detroit fans.
Yeah, I agree. And to play the dual-edged sword with you there is I also saw it get deflated in there too, how quiet it got once it went the other way. You know what I mean? And once it goes the other way, that place is like, it's like they're going to need that Detroit Lions fan base to be on it no matter what, because that momentum can change just off of those fans. And I mean, Stafford's going to be maybe not used to it because it probably won't be as loud as it was when he was there all those years. But I mean, it's like what a, like
so surreal,
but still like just the matchups, Tyreek back in Kansas City. The Browns going against the Texans, first time Will Watson and that whole situation.
Yeah.
Like Packers playing the Cowboys again and the Stafford Goff. It's like, man, it's like the perfect script.
It's hard to act like it isn't planned out.
Yeah, it really is, right? It's man. But then we got one game left, and good question. My dad even asked, and I'm not offended by it. Like, how the hell did this game get pushed to Monday, not any other game? Like, I don't understand how that worked.
That is interesting.
Everybody at work was, why aren't the Cowboys Monday Night Football?
Oh, I bet, dude.
Oh my gosh, because nobody wants to watch them lose.
Shout out Redbird. Redbird will be in. He'll be tailgating at the game.
Taking plenty of pictures, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, hopefully. And but Matt, I went against you on your team, and you went against me on my team, so I can respect it. I can respect the dig. I understand where you're coming from. I'll ask you your opinion. I will say this. I'm not confident. I'll get that out of the way. I'll be very open about it. I'm not going to be. I've always been a pretty unbiased fan when it comes to sports. I've had my least amount of confidence in the Eagles the last 5 weeks, and same thing going on to this. AJ Brown didn't show up to practice today, as in Friday. He deleted all the social media posts and has not been in contact with the Eagles.
What is that about?
Don't know what that means.
What do you guess? What do you think?
He's pissed. I don't know. I don't think you just don't show up for a playoff game. But I don't think he's very happy. I also think it could be taken out of proportion, and he's injured, right? And he's deleting social media because he's tired of the fans attacking him and wondering what's going on. So we just got rid of the distraction. And then all of a sudden he just showed up to practice because he's still hurt, probably taking care of it. And so they probably just took it a little bit out of proportion. That's my best guess. But either way, there's rumors that, and this just isn't true, that Ocho Cinco had said on the Unkin Chad show, right, or whatever it's called, that he thinks the Eagles have been tanking this whole time just to surprise. This is what the seed they wanted. They didn't want to play. They didn't want to play the Packers. They didn't want to play the Rams. They wanted to play the Bucks. And so, it's like all this whole thing that we've been playing possum this whole time. We're going to come out and you're good. And we're gonna play possum and come out firing all cylinders like this whole thing never happened, And I just have a hard time.
Theory. That's a great theory.
It's tough, Matt. It's tough. How do you not believe that as a fan? You're just looking at it. You're looking at play calls, man, and we're 3rd and 20 running a read option. It's like maybe we are. Maybe we were just this bad.
So it's kind of. I think the same thing of the Chiefs, though.
Yes,
the Eagles, both you guys, just didn't look like the teams that we know you guys are. So it is
last year.
It's really weird that you're saying that, because it almost is. You kind of think about it for a second. You're like, we know they're this great team that can do all these things, but they're not doing any of it. They're not looking. They're not looking good.
There was this whole thing that they didn't like having the bye week last year, being the number 1 seed. They did not like it, and it's like. It's almost one of those things, though. But then it's like, then why was AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts in the games, in those games? Because it's like, why did we get them hurt then? If that was, it's like all these things. It's just like I'm looking at it from a realistic point. It's like it doesn't make sense. With that being said, I do think though, looking at Jason Kelce released a hype video for the team, right? And it's like that gets you moving, man. When you hear that big boy talk, it's like he's got that raspy. It's like it makes you get goosebumps whether you're a fan or not. And it's like. They got a fire lit up underneath them right now, because it's like they've never been more doubted than when Nick Foles was our quarterback and we beat Brady in the Super Bowl. Everyone thought we were the underdogs and all this other stuff. So you could argue the fact that we are underdogs going into the playoffs right now. Yeah, we're 11-6, but it's like there's a fire underneath this. It's like every single person saying we're losing this game. There's so many. The line right now is -2 Eagles, which it should be way more than that with how inconsistent the Bucks. I think. Out of all these teams, the Bucs are the worst team playing on this thing. And I don't mean that as a jab towards Baker, and I don't mean that towards Bet. I just think when I look at these teams and how well they're playing recently, the Bucs are the most inconsistent team on this, besides the Eagles, I will say.
So I get what you're saying there, but for me, I actually think the Bucs can be the most, and that's why I picked him here. I think out of these teams, they're the one that can surprise us the most. To me, they've shown that they can play above their means. They can surprise us. Baker can throw for 350, for 370, whatever it was. He somehow it's Baker Mayfield we're talking about. Somehow he's just lighting it up on some of these games.
Yep.
But you're right. He's obviously on those other games. They look like, hot garbage, but that's why I leaned and I picked them in this scenario. Because of how bad, whether it's to switch seeds or not, how bad the Eagles have looked as of late, and then how much upside the Bucs potentially can have, kind of makes me think that the Bucs have a chance here. Now, I've talked to you about this before when the Eagles have lost, maybe last year when they only lost a couple, but I like them losing so that they then have that chip. They have that adversity. They're not just overly confident, right?
Right.
But the Eagles have managed to kind of take it a little bit too far. And now they're actually down on themselves, and maybe they're doubting themselves. And then, again, I'll bring up diva wide receivers. And maybe he's hurt now though, so it's a little bit different. But when you get that relationship going in the wrong direction again between them, because they don't like losing it either. But if you have that relationship between him and AJ Brown, again, they say that they're brothers and they love each other, no matter what. But if they do have that adversity, button heads against each other, how are they going to have success in the playoffs?
Yeah.
So,
and it leaks onto other things too. It's not just those two players, because you see those guys go at it, and there's guys down the line that are like, oh, like we're in trouble if these guys are still going at it. You know what I mean? It leaks way down farther than you think. But I agree. I think last year, I think we would have been a better team if we had a couple more losses. Like I just think a couple more to get things figured out, and then it's like that's what kind of like led us to the Super Bowl loss. It's just like we were constantly that team that everyone was scared of, and I don't like those teams going into any sport. I don't like those teams because those teams all of a sudden have the biggest weakness because they don't know what their weakness is. Like that is their weakness, is they don't know what's wrong with their team until it happens, and it's already too late at that point. And so I think like Eagles are just one of those things where it's like right now everyone's doubting them. They've played like shit. They've lost teams they shouldn't lose to. What do you have to lose? Like, let's just win this game and then focus on the next game. And that's kind of like mentality. It's 1 week at a time now. I mean, for every team, but it's like, let's just win this game and play good football. And I guess it was funny. If you guys remember, do you remember the week that our security guy, Dom, got thrown out of the game when the one player punched him in the face or whatever? He has not been on the sideline since because of NFL whatever, but he's just officially been able to be back. We're 10-1 with him on the sideline, and we're 1-5 without him on the sideline. So it's just a fun little like thing that that
that's funny.
Yeah, it's like when he's there, the morale's just a lot better. He just keeps the sideline more intact. I don't know. So we'll see what happens, man. But that is all of our picks for the wild card schedule. The next thing we will go into is we have our bracket. So Matt, we'll do your bracket first. Obviously, this is the first set of games, so we'll just walk through them. But to see what we have our picks wise for the rest of the playoff bracket, we'll see if anyone's get a perfect bracket going. But yeah, Matt, walk us through the bracket
the winning bracket first. I got you. Okay,
this is the perfect bracket.
Wow, yep, it's got to be.
Wow,
it's got Lions.
You remember? It's funny because the big game is Ravens Lions. Do you remember? Did you guys play the Ravens this year?
I don't remember it.
I think they did.
Do you think they did? Fancy, can you Google?
Oh, I'm gonna look that up right quick.
No, it's okay. Moment. No, you don't have to.
He's like, give me my segment.
You just give me 1 second. Let me look.
No, that's fine.
What was it like? 70 something to no?
Yeah, it was bad.
God.
We were hiding. We were hiding our strategy against them.
Wow.
So then when we play them in the Super Bowl, they have no idea.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
But no, start us off left to right. Go AFC. Walk us through. Give us a little 38-6. He just types it in.
Thanks.
I didn't want to air it out like that.
All right, so we already went over, for the most part, we already, went over these games. Yep. I've got Browns. So then the way this shakes out, the Bills over Steelers, they get to play. I've got the matchup of the Bills beating them.
Yep.
And then Ravens, I've got just going all the way. I see them as the number 1 seed for a reason. I choose them playing Miami. We'll see. I think they still match up perfectly against the Chiefs if the Chiefs end up beating the Dolphins there.
Yeah, that whole thing changes there.
That's right. That'd be a 3 seed.
You're right. They'd play the Browns in that. Like if the Chiefs do win, they'd play.
Yep,
the Browns,
I see that. Okay.
Which I think I will say this, not to cut you off in your bracket. I think the one team that could take out the Ravens is a divisional opponent like the Browns. I think that is the one team.
Yeah,
I definitely think so.
I do not want to play if I'm the Ravens.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Sorry, but you keep going.
So I did flip though, because I don't know if I told you this, but going into the season, the matchup that I had was Buffalo against Detroit in the Super Bowl. I've since now wavered from that as we're now in the playoff picture. I think they still get to the conference championship game, but I have the Ravens beating them there. And then for the NFC side, you saw my upsets special of the Tampa Bay Bucks. I think somehow they get it done against the Eagles. That shifts them over to play the Niners. Niners, I think, then destroy them there. I've got Cowboys over Packers, and then we get that revenge game against them now in the playoffs divisional matchup, and I think the Lions beat them there.
And you guys would not be home.
Against
that is true.
Against who?
Against the Cowboys.
Against Dallas.
Oh, you'd have to go to Dallas. Yeah, that'd be a rough one.
Yeah, so after this first week, the way you have it up, you'd have to win 2 on the road.
Yep. Yeah. So hey,
and that's good for golf. You're playing warm weather. He's not good in cold weather. You play in the dome.
Game,
yeah.
And then
indoor game and then San Fran, which is gonna be like 50, 60 degrees. Like it ain't gonna be cold.
Yep.
Wow.
So that being said,
there's no bias picks in this at all.
So that being said, it's you see the hopefulness as well as I think, I can tell you, yeah, they're my team, but if there's any year that's going to happen,
I definitely agree with that.
Then why not select them, go all the way, because there's a chance that it happens. Now, again, yeah, if you're telling me 49ers against the Lions, who's the better team in that matchup? 49ers have, amazing weapons, but
I think the 49ers still have the best team in the league. When you look at the roster, I think it's the best team in the league.
Yeah, but if somehow this miracle year happens, they're gonna have to beat them. So
who's hot at the hot time? Yeah,
no,
absolutely. Matters. I'm into the Lions this year. I am, and that's coming from a Packers fan. I definitely think Matt's bracket looks good. I think that could. I'd throw $50 on that.
I don't think the Lions are going to go all the way. I think that Rams game, they're going to be lucky to sneak by that. And I do think you can beat the Cowboys, but the Cowboys are going to be more ready for you. They're not going to give you that last minute thing. It's like you're going to have to beat them.
You're not going to have to beat the Cowboys, so that doesn't matter.
But that's true. Because that whole thing changes, man. You'd be playing the Bucks if the Packers do end up winning in that. The way your thing is, because the 49ers would go and play the Packers.
So the NFC Championship will be Packers.
You really need the Packers to win, because your second matchup would be much easier. But no, it's like, if that's the way the bracket's gonna go, let's look at all the, like when we were looking at the teams, looking at the playoffs, it's like it switches up a million times by the time we look at this next week. Like that's in this road that you picked. I don't see them getting through that road, but I don't think that'll be the road that they go through. And I think that'll be the determination. If they play the Bucks or they play the Eagles or whoever they play in that next matchup, if they do win the week 1, it's going to be a whole different thing. And I do think they can go a little bit farther than that, but I think 49ers Ravens still got it. They're just a scary team for me. But Fancy, go ahead and walk us through yours. You have the 49ers winning it all.
Yeah, mine's real easy. Okay. I got Texans winning at home. Like I said, we talked about it earlier. I just think young beats old. There's a lot of talk that Joe Flacco wasn't the MVP. He wasn't the reason why the Ravens won. And while he's done great in the last 6-7 games, he's just not the guy. Kansas City's going to win at home. They're going to move on. I put the Bills winning. I think Steelers go ahead and actually win that. Either way, Lions are gonna win. MCDC, he's gonna win on some bold, like the shit that's gonna either get him fired or gonna get him put in the Hall of Fame. And then Philly, I think Philly's gonna get right back on track. Day 1, week 1, Philly. I think they're gonna get right back on track.
You don't like that they're not going to beat the 49ers there under your scenario, though. So they get the first round, but not the second round, you're saying, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, Phillies get it back on track, but so do the Niners, because that's 2 juggernaut NFC teams that people were like, oh, there's some weakness here. There's some weakness there. And I thought, it's like, teams lose. These are all professionals, period. These guys wouldn't be getting paid the money they're getting paid if they weren't. And I got Cowboys moving on. They're gonna play Lions, and I got Lions winning. I'm a fan of MCDC. It's crazy to to have that going on as a Packers fan. I do think the Lions got blessed with Kirk Cousins getting hurt. I do think that. Cowboys go down. They win the first one against a team that should never got there, and against a real team, especially a team that shouldn't have fucking lost to them the first time. That doesn't happen again. Period. And then Eagles, Niners. It's going to be a great game. It's going to be a close game, and Niners are going to show why they belong in the big match. Ravens. I mean, the AFC doesn't have teams to beat. Chiefs have showed weakness. Bills have showed weakness. Dolphins have showed weakness. And then everybody else that's in the AFC bracket are happy to be there. No one thought the Steelers were going to be there, maybe because of Mike Tomlin. Definitely no one thought the Texans were going to be there. And then the Browns without Deshaun Watson, nobody thought those guys were going to be there.
No Deshaun Watson, no Nick Chubb.
Exactly. So between the three teams in the AFC, the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Ravens, that make it Ravens just out the Chiefs a little bit, home field advantage. I mean, Lamar Jackson just so good on his feet. He takes them to the Super Bowl, and we have another rematch, not necessarily between coaches, but between teams, and the Niners come out victorious this time.
Yeah, I do think that's a good point. I agree with you with the AFC conference is the Ravens to lose.
Yeah.
And that's the best way of putting it. Like it's their conference. They just have to lose. There's no one that's going to come close to them if
they'll step on their own toes and fuck it up.
Yep. That's the only thing.
Yes, sir.
For me, my bracket, I'll start on the left side here. Obviously went through the first games.
Wow,
the way we have it lined up. The way we have it lined up. I think it's that Browns Ravens matchup that I talked about, and I debated going Browns to the AFC Championship. I think that's going to be like, man, it's gonna be like one of the toughest Ravens. If this is how it plays out, Ravens Browns, it's gonna be.
So do we have like a 16-13 game or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be brutal, man. Because I don't know, you just don't want to play. Like I'm telling you, if we had someone like a player from the Ravens and it was like the one team they don't want to play right now, I bet you they say the Browns. It's that divisional, that AFC North is such a close division. We made podcasts or we made TikToks about it. It's literally just like they go 1-1 against each other every year. Every team, no matter how bad they are, they somehow always get a win against each other. And
are you betting over or under on that game on points?
Under. Depending on what it's at. Yeah.
Ooh.
I think I'd go anything under
25.
42, 40, 43, 44.
25 a team. So you're saying under 44. So you're thinking 21 points a game?
Yeah. 21, 17, 2017.
Wow. Okay. There, You don't think they're going to be scoring much? Okay.
I think both those defenses are going to be
not in that matchup. That's what I'm saying.
And then I got Bills Chiefs. And I do like the Bills in that matchup. I think they're a better team than the Chiefs, and they have home field advantage, which I do like. And then a little bit of a shocker, Ravens Bills. I think where I was thinking with this is if the Bills get this far,
they're on a roll.
The Ravens are the team to lose because, like I said, it's the Ravens division or the conference to lose. So I think if the Bills make it this far, like I think they could, if they get hot, they got to win the game against Steelers. They have to. That's like. You got to win that game. You got to make it look easy so teams are starting to freak out about it. And then you got to beat the Chiefs and roll through. And then it's like if they can do that, I think the Bills are going to be a dangerous team. But then I'm taking the Cowboys over the Packers. I'm taking the Rams over the Lions, and I'm taking the Eagles over the Bucks. And then the 49ers Rams game, that too. That's another divisional matchup that I would not want. Same thing with the Cowboys, the Eagles. I think the Cowboys will get the best of us again at home. I mean, I don't want it to happen, but I just realistically can see if this is how it plays out and we have to play Dallas in divisional, it's the worst case scenario for us. That's why I'm hoping for the Packers to win. Because if the Packers do win, we play the Rams then in that scenario. But 49ers Cowboys, I think the 49ers shows them what a real team looks like. And Dallas not at home no more. Wouldn't know how to play.
Yeah.
But just Dallas winning 2 games in playoffs makes me sick to my stomach. Because then the fans would just never shut up about it that they made it to a championship and got blown out 3-0.
Yeah.
But
the Tim the Tap Man Dr. Disrespect game though, like with that,
dude, I in attendance.
I live for that. I live for that.
And then 49ers Bills, and I think it's just going to be one of those. I think it's just powerhouse teams. Even if you put the Ravens and the 49ers like Fancy had, and the Ravens do win that, I think the 49ers just come out. I think last year the 49ers should have won the Super Bowl. I think with all their injuries, I will say that the Eagles beat them at NFC Championship, but they were hurt, man. Brock Purdy got hurt. Kittle was hurt. I mean, everyone on their team was hurt, man, and they lost to us. And so now it's like one of those where they're chasing it, right? We've talked about before. Are we getting Brock Purdy or Brock Turdy? And that's going to be the difference. But yeah, I mean, me and Fancy picking the 49ers to come out of it, but we all picked an NFC team to come out on top, which is funny because we all think the most dangerous team at the moment is the Ravens. So it's funny. We'll see how it all plays out. Feel free to go to myplayoffpicks.com to make your own bracket and let us know what you guys think that are listening to this, and kind of just see how it goes out. We'll see how our points are looking. We'll see if anyone has a perfect bracket at the end of this. That'd be pretty cool if one of us had a perfect bracket at the end.
We all have different picks, right?
All different scenarios, and everything. So we have a possibility at it. We'll see. But that is it for that segment. Which leads us to our final segment of the podcast, everyone's favorite parts with Matt. Some trivia with Matt. So let's head over to trivia.
All right, we are at the playoff trivia time. So, production meeting was on theme this week. So the question is going to be themed for you guys. Let's do a wildcard question. So, our question today is: how many wildcard teams have won the Super Bowl? Now we all picked, our brackets don't show it this year, but
wildcard teams are considered 7 then.
What's that?
Like wildcard teams would be considered the 7 seed.
No,
before it was a 6 seed, because there hasn't always been an extra wild card.
I think it's just the teams that are non-divisional, aren't they?
Yes.
So it's just the divisional and then the 1 seed.
Oh, so you just
6 and 7, right?
So I think it's
6 and 7.
Yeah.
Okay. There wasn't always a 7th, right?
I just wanted to get it figured out that way. I knew in my head, like
correct. Yep.
Yeah. Right. I think maybe not. I might be wrong, but yeah.
Do we get like a hint?
Yeah, I'm wearing it.
You think 90 teams?
The Packers are a wild card.
How many wild card teams have won the Super Bowl? Not.
I'm saying there's one.
So
right,
more.
You take a guess.
Yeah.
6.
So Fancy says 6.
Packers have done it. The Eagles have done it.
The Rams did it in 2002 or 1.
I'm gonna go 9.
All right, Fancy.
One or made it. What was the question?
One. It's on the screen. It's literally on the screen.
Won the Super Bowl. Like, okay, I was like, wait.
So 7. Fancy, you were pretty close.
Ooh. Okay. I was gonna go 8 too. That'd have been crazy. We would have rock paper scissors for the win there.
Yeah. No, but you guys are in the right ballpark. I like it. So, Fancy, you are correct. Any chance you can get bonus points? You remember what year? Green Bay.
Well, I mean, Packers did it in it was a 10-11 season.
There you go. Yep. Bonus point there for you. So Green Bay Packers.
The Eagles did it.
I don't have the Eagles on here.
Really?
Yep.
When did they do it?
That year they were like 9-7, bro. We didn't win. We might have won the division that year. Holy shit, because the division was trash.
Did you win the Super Bowl?
Yeah, with Nick Foles.
I thought y'all won the whole thing. Like I thought y'all were like leading because Wentz, I thought, brought you all the way doing well, and then he went down.
Maybe, yeah. We
might have won the division then. Yeah, you might have won the division.
Yeah,
I think
the Cowboys are just trash per usual.
That's what I always thought. I said, so who's more valuable? Wentz getting you that whole good season, or Foles through the playoffs for a Super Bowl? I'd ask Driftwood about that because that was crazy.
So Rams.
One is recent history.
When is the most recent?
One is a recent
Falcons. Oh no,
one.
One. Oh, not the Falcons. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like the last Super Bowl was literally.
I'm trying to think. I thought the Broncos were really successful when they won with Peyton Manning.
Correct.
Not Tampa, because Tampa won the division.
Yeah.
I got this. Hey, listen.
Pittsburgh Saints.
I've got the
Saints.
Bucs 2020.
The Bucs are the most recent.
Yep.
So that's right. They got in Wildcard.
Yeah. They fucked everything up. Yeah.
Yep.
Saints.
Who got in?
Like 2008.
The Saints went in that year, and then the Bucs snuck in. Yeah, and then they came in. They had that elite defense that everyone was worried about, and then he ended up doing it. Wow.
Yeah.
All right, so now we've got three more in the 2000s.
Saints.
Nope.
No, they did good. And what was it 8 or 9?
Giants.
I feel like I was gonna say.
The Giants did it
before. So yep.
Was it not the Giants both times that they beat the Patriots that they were wild card?
No, it looks like only once.
Oh wow, okay.
And then we've got two more in the 2000s.
I mean, the Patriots had to do it either in 01 or 03. Like one of those years they weren't favored, right?
I don't have Patriots on here, no.
Fucking Tom Brady, dude. What a bastard.
Too successful.
Okay. I said Rams 02, but I'm sure Kurt Warner and
Lions
were absolutely just dominating.
Lions just missed the list. Just missed it.
Yeah, just missed it.
Just missed. Barely.
Hold on. Let me look up.
Let me go Wikipedia and edit this real quick.
Let me go edit this real quick.
Wikipedia. So how many do we have out of 7?
Hold on. So you just said Steelers, and I want to fact check it real quick, but
the Patriots won half of the 2000s.
Dude, did you see the stat with Nick Saban and Bill Belichick both stepping away? Since the year of 2000, 24 years, there has been a statistical chance of 50% that Nick Saban or Bill Belichick have won a championship.
Yeah.
They've won 12 championships combined. So
they both won.
Not that it happened every year, but like they've won so many in 24 years. Yeah,
consecutive. Yeah.
Well, I did see that. I think you sent me a clip. One of the podcasts that either you follow or I follow. You know, they were going through NCAA champs and looking back on the past, I don't know, it was 15 years, and seeing Alabama in all these different championship games, right? So you know, the stat is basically Nick Saban can say, if you come to my program, you're gonna have a chance at a national championship. And he wasn't wrong.
So there was a stat. He officially ended his career in Alabama where if a player played 4 years, like a basic 4-year, thing, every person that stayed there and played 4 years under his head coaching won a national championship.
That's dope. Did you all see that other statistic about the starting quarterbacks in the NFL playoffs? Like, I think like half of them are from the Big 12.
Did not see that.
Yeah, it's like Baker, Mason Rudolph, Pat Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, and
where's Jordan Love from?
Utah.
Oh gosh.
Lucky, go figure.
I don't know why Lucky.
Yeah, he fucking sucking them off. Anyways, as far as teams in the 2000s, so there's 2 more.
All right. Who won in
Colts?
Who won in 2000? You've already.
I was 2 years old. How do you want me? The Rams.
The Colts. I said the Rams already.
No, I feel like the Rams won in 2000.
They did win in 2000. They weren't the wild card though.
No, so this has so maybe that's because it's 99 to 2000, or is it 2000? I don't know which way. I've got Baltimore Ravens as the. We talked about Ray Lewis already on this podcast.
Go Flacco.
So.
Yeah.
Got it.
All right, and then we got we've got one in the 90s, one in the 80s.
One in the 90s. That one would have been the Packers again.
Nope.
Seahawks.
Then it would have been the Broncos with
I know you're saying the GM owner right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck's his name?
I don't know.
Elway. Yeah.
Come on.
I was like, man,
I kept on saying his name. I was like, what the fuck is his name? And in the 80s,
your guess is as good as mine on this one. I had no idea on this one.
80s winners. Who was dominant in the 80s? One guess.
And then I'll just give it to you so we can move on.
Okay, let me think about it for just give me 1 sec to run through my mind. Niners.
Jake, you got a guess?
That's where I was going. Niners. That's literally what I was.
Oakland Raiders.
Oh, I knew California. God damn it!
You got the state right.
Yeah. All right, so that rounds out our. I'll try to stay on theme for you guys. Wildcard weekends.
That's fun.
Round next
that's
week.
fun.
Now we'll move on to divisional. So that's your hint for next week.
Yeah.
Study up on some
or raw dog
divisional trivia.
I like DJ's guess on one of our trivia segments. He threw in some of those guesses. So keep those coming. If you guys have guesses on any of these trivia questions, go ahead and throw them in there.
Yeah. Like I said, let us know. Tag us on social media, your brackets and stuff like that. Let us know who you got winning it. And make sure you guys are following us on our socials. Like Matt said, leave some comments on the trivia. And you boys got anything else?
No, I think we're I'm ready to wrap it up.
Look out for the drone show Sunday Night Football. They were testing them out when I was there on Thursday. One of them is like you'll see it's the Peacock, and it says Sunday Night Football. Another one's the Rams, and the other one's Detroit Lions logos. They were messing with the drones when I was there exiting the game. It was pretty cool. So I've always thought those were like just digital things that they throw up on there. No, I literally saw the drones flying in cool. On Thursday. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, keep an eye out for those. Peacock is the way to watch the games today, Saturday games. So make sure you guys have that downloaded. Download for free.
And if you don't have it, you should, because that means you're not watching The Office, which you should be.
Facts. Actual, factual, fancy. Yeah, that's about it for this podcast. Episode 11. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll be back next week to see all of our perfect brackets somehow, right? And we'll see.
I hope mine's
see how we did. I hope mine's fucked up. And we'll talk about the divisional games, break down those, and we'll get into some of the stuff that's happening off the field for some other teams. And yeah, hope to see you guys there. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you guys, and have a good weekend.
Let's go.
See you.